Hello. As you may or may not have known, this weekend was Battlebond pre-release, and I couldn't go, so instead I'm making this video. Battlebond is basically the Commander Masters we all needed. And while it does have expensive reprints, it has new cards that are great for EDH, and that's what this video is all about. It's your top 10 new Battlebond cards for Commander. So like all other top 10 videos on the internet, let's get some honorable mentions. The first one is an uncommon, Whodathunk. Although not super exciting, the crowd goes wild, could be a good finisher in select decks. You get to put +1/+1 counters on X creatures, and then those creatures get trampled. This could be pretty powerful in decks like Anafenza or Zuri or other decks that run +1/+1 counters. Okay, moving on. This card. I'm getting real sick of Wizards just tagging Wooburg onto legendary creatures to make them 5-color commanders. But someone out there is liking it, so here we go again. But I'm especially butthurt about this card. I was gonna make a 5-color warrior tribal deck with some random 5-color commander, but then this bitch came along. You'd think I'd be happy, but there's something about having a random ass commander. It leaves your opponent going, what the fuck is going on with your deck? And you personally don't feel bad about using a crap commander because there's really no alternative. But now there is. And if you play warrior tribal and people don't see you using her, they're gonna be like, why aren't you playing Gila? Cause fuck you, that's why. Yeah. I know she goes infinite with Sword of Feast and Famine, Bear Umbra, and Nature's Will. Still, screw it. Warriors are dead to me. Our last on-roll mention is these lands. Don't worry, I wasn't gonna make you sit through a long ass video just to have the number 1 card be a land. I might as well waste 10 minutes of your life and then thank you by giving you a swift kick to the crotch. These lands are good in EDH. They're basically the original dual lands for the format. Even though one of them has a dumb name. Seriously, Luxury Suite? It's a warrior plane for God's sake. You couldn't have made the red-black land be called Blood Pits, or Carnage Dome, or something else. Whatever. Now the land just sounds like it needs a mini fridge. Fuck it. On to the list. Yeah. Number 10 is probably the most hyped and most excited new card in the set. And it's number 10 on the list, because we don't fucking play by people's norms. Arena Rector. When it dies, you get to search your library for a Planeswalker card and put it on the battlefield. Yeah, it's powerful, and yeah, it's good, but definitely way too narrow. Although I do like the fact that Christopher Walken is still getting work. Oh! It just doesn't have the versatility of Academy Rector. Being able to search up any enchantment is much more useful in most decks than grabbing a Planeswalker. Obviously this is an auto-clued in Super Friend decks, but is it really worthy of a spot in a deck that only has 1 or 2 Planeswalkers? Especially when it has to die to get them? Not really. I'd love me some red-black chaos. That's why number 9 is Archfiend of Despair. Wound Reflection on a 6/6 flyer that stops life gain seemed pretty solid despite the 8 converted mana cost. This card can easily slot into white-black life gain decks and red-black group slug. You mix it with cards like Heartless Hedisul, Torgar, Quite a Spike, or Malignus paired with a Chandra's Ignition, and it's a one-shot kill to your opponents. Or for slower deaths, Havoc Festival. Also, can we appreciate the reminder text here? Wizards are giving us life lessons 1 card at a time. Number 8 is Sentinel Tower. Whenever an instant sorcery is cast on your turn, the tower deals damage equal to 1 plus the number of instant sorcery spells cast before that spell this turn. Any spell, that means opponents too. So if you're racking up spells before combat and you attack, an opponent could lose a lot by responding. Potentially a creature, potentially a chunk of life. Obviously this wants to be in Izzet decks like Malek, Arjun, Mizzix, but it's colorless, so you could stick it in anything. Like white-black life gain. Or maybe red-green or mono-green ramp. Okay, just stick it in your Izzet decks and leave me the fuck alone. Number 7 is Pyrs. This guy's Whim. Meet the new staple in any green EDH deck. For each player, you name friend or foe, friend search for any land in their deck, put it on the battlefield tap, foes sacrifice an artifact or enchantment. More likely than not, you'll make all your opponents sack an artifact or enchantment, and you search for a land. I don't know, like Temple the False God. Seems pretty good for a 4 converted mana cost spell. But the real trick here is the political aspect. You can help out the underdog, give them a land, or you can help everyone but the leader at the table, leading to saltiness and splits in the game. This is going to be a welcome sight in most group hug decks. We did it! A 3 converted mana cost board wipe. Shut up. Last one standing, 1 black and red. You choose a creature at random and you destroy the rest. You know what's great about this card? No matter what creature you are, be it a giant Eldrazi or a goat, you have the same chance to live. This is the definition of complete equality. This can easily be slotted into any red-black deck, probably fitting best into Group Slug or Grixis Spellslinger. You know, builds that have less creatures on the board. You know what green-white needs more of? Stacks and Pillar Fort effects. Well, besides Gadok Teague and Dramoka, the Sigardas, Chalet, Miri. So you know, a 5/6 flying Vigilance Trampler that completely stops the play of any one card type is always needed in a green-white build. Blink effects are especially good to fit your need throughout the game, or you know, just make tokens of the guy, naming different card types. Not like either of those strategies are present in green-white. Number 4 is Thrilling Encore. I think people are under-evaluating this card, or maybe I'm over-evaluating it. Nah, you guys are fucking wrong. Sure, the wording on this is kind of weird, but the effect is powerful. You get to return all the creatures that died this turn onto your side of the battlefield. Doesn't matter whose creatures they are, they're yours now. Yeah, 5 converted mana cost is a lot, but it's at instant speed. You can play it whenever. You just gotta play smart. If the board is full to the brim, eventually a board wipe's gonna come. So if you're expecting one, mostly because the white player has stopped playing creatures, keep 5 mana up. You can fit this in white-black decks, red-black decks, blue-black decks. Oh, especially green-black decks. Really just any black deck. I bet you were wondering where the blue cards were. Well, they're at the top of the list. Not that I like blue, they're good cards. So right here we have Spellseeker. When it comes in, you get to look for an instant or sorcery card in your library with converted mana cost 2 or less. So it's a tutor on a 1/1 body. 2 converted mana cost spell might not seem like a lot, but that can easily change a game state. It can grab mass removal, counter spells, combo pieces, kill spells, recursion spells, and basically every other fucking tutor. Pair this with a Nala, or any token and blink effects, and it can get out of hand. You can search for every 2 converted mana cost instant and sorcery in your deck. If you're running blue, you're probably going to want to run this. Number 2 is Arcane Artisan. Another blue card back to back, what can I say? For 2 in blue, you get to tap it and you draw a card and then exile a card from your hand. If you exile a creature this way, you create a copy of it on the field. And when the Artisan leaves the battlefield, you exile all tokens created with it. So let's just start off with the fact that you get to draw a card, and then you could potentially draw a strong creature, exile that creature, and get a token of it. Say hello to a 3-cost Eldrazi. And it's nice that it stays till end of turn, so even if your Artisan gets shit all over, you still get to keep your co-select until the turn's up.
I don't feel so good.
And let's talk about how broken this can be. If you throw this in your Marisol EDH deck, and you exile the Artisan with Marisol, Marisol gets the effect without the downside. You get to keep your tokens forever. Even more benefit, you pair this with a sack effect. So if your Artisan gets removed, you can sack the tokens before end of turn, get a benefit off them being on the field before they're exiled. Pair this with stuff that has great death triggers like Worm Coil Engine, World Spine Worm, Reef Worm, and apparently other type of worms. Okay, number 1 is Ramble Sovereign. A beefy half a Riku that is less mana intensive. As a green player, this card gets me hard. You can basically copy any enter the battlefield effect you want. Acidic Slime, Rex Sage, Eternal Witness, and that's just mono green decks. Now imagine it with other colors. Green-black graveyard decks are gonna fucking love this card. And with Panharmonicon, gonna be amazing. Out of breath, I'm so excited. Jesus. But there's more. You can do it to other people's creatures too. There are 2 annoying artifacts on the board. Your opponent plays a Rex Sage. Copy it. Give him another Rex Sage. They'll get you next time. Who cares? Or, you know, if someone plays a Phage, you kill him for 1 and a green. This is a perfect example of power meeting politics, and it all comes together beautifully in one nice tree person thing. So that's the list. What do you think of it? If you enjoyed it, like and subscribe. If you didn't think it was fitting, leave a comment down below and tell me how I'm wrong. I think the list is pretty good. So until next time, keep having fun, guys.